Hey Russell, how you doing? Michael B, how you doing? Extenius, how you doing? Can you guys just give me some feedback as far as the sound? Is it okay for you guys? Coming in okay? Code 3, aloha, how you doing? Raul Duke, Todd Baker, how you doing? If you guys can you just let me know in the chat how the sound is? Okay, great. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Grand finale. First time I've seen you here. Welcome aboard, Todd Baker. Welcome aboard, Russell. Same. A lot of new guys here. A lot of new guys. Colonel Bromley, how you doing, sir? How you doing, sir? Lionel Joseph, how you doing? Lulu, hello from New York. Hope everything's going well for you in New York. I know you guys are having it pretty rough. Buckwheat, Buckwheat, can you sing? You weren't on Saturday Night Live before, were you? I used to like those skits back then. They're pretty cool. Hard Rock, how you doing? Alejandro, Dan Warsaw, how you guys doing? Sounds okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Uh, yeah, Kauai lockdown. I think most of Hawaii is pretty much locked down. My sister's been keeping me abreast of what's going on there. Norman Liu, how you doing? So we'll get started shortly. Mostly just a lot of news things that I want to take a look at and get your guys' opinions on. Your opinions do matter, so we appreciate whatever input you can give. So with that, I guess we'll go ahead and get started shortly. Kevin Fernandez, how you doing? Toronto. Brian Rivera, how you doing? A lot of new guys. Ote, Buckwheat, there you go. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vieira. Hope everyone out there is doing okay. Times are getting tough, but that's when we got to be just a bit tougher. And I know we can do it. Let's just all pull through. We'll get through this together. So again, I thank you for being here, wherever you may be, whether it's in Europe, Asia. It's Monday morning here, whether it's in the States. I think you folks are coming up on past dinner time or around there, maybe headed towards bedtime. But Monday morning, I mean, I think a lot of you guys will just be spending your Mondays at home. And in fact, even in Singapore, we're having to close up just a bit. Essential services are open. We got word last week. Prime Minister came on and he told us pretty much we got to contain this virus a bit better. So essential services can move on. Non-essential services, yeah, we're going to slow down for a month or so. But as far as the things here at Silver Bullion, I think for the most part we'll be operational, we'll be functional. I mean, emails and things, they'll still be handled. The vault, especially, the vault has been deemed as essential. So everything in the vault is still going to go on as normal, pretty much. As far as customer pickups coming into the shop in Singapore, those they're going to have to wait for a bit until things are a bit more clear. We're given the all clear sign. Shouldn't affect too much, simply because a lot of orders or pre-orders, you know, they're 2 weeks out, 1 month out, whatever it may be. So it shouldn't affect too many guys that want to come into the shop. And I think if you are in Singapore tonight, I think we are open till about 9 p.m. So if you want to come down and pick up your gold and silver, come on down. We should be open till about 9 p.m. So just wanted to clear a few of those things up. And, you know, again, if you are new to this channel or you have not already done so, please do subscribe, click on the bell to be notified on updates, and give us a thumbs up. If you like what we do, we really do appreciate your support. And to stay abreast of things with us, we are on social media. You can find us on our website, www.silverbullion.com.sg. We are in Singapore. Silver Bullion SG on Facebook. Silver Bullion PL for Private Limited is our Twitter handle. The audio versions can be found on bit.ly, bit.ly /SBTV iTunes or /SBTV Spotify. And I do hope you join us on our Crisis Tracker group. If you have that Telegram app, go ahead and add us in, Crisis Tracker. And then what we typically do is we post, whether it's financial news, economic news, gold and silver news, whatever it may be. We post things in there, so we all get some some good information, and then we can go ahead and decipher it on our own, and decide how to best take in that info. So again, just want to say hello to everyone. Um, a lot of comments already. Hello from Boston. How you doing? Lao Lang. How you doing? Chance the Canine. How you doing? Thumbs up to you to point to reading. Again, a lot of new guys. Appreciate you folks being here. And some of you stalwarts. RR. How you doing? Jim Rogers interview. Yeah. I tell you what, I've been reading through some of your comments, and it's a divided world. You know, it's definitely a divided world out there, and somehow we got to pull this thing together. We got to pull it together, guys. We can't keep splitting hairs over the smallest things, and start creating huge divides among us. We're all together in this thing. We're gonna get through it together. So yeah, the Jim Rogers interview, he gave some good info. Some of it, he's pretty consistent with his message. You may have heard it before, but he gave some pretty good info. So I do hope you folks have the time to go ahead and watch it. Um, Brian Rivera, Tampa, Florida. How you doing? Hang in there, guys. I know it's getting tough all over the world. Florida, New York, all of these places. Always be funding. How you doing, Utah? Good to see you here. Built Ford Tough. Yeah. How you doing? Built Ford Tough. I think you guys got to be making some built respirator stuff, right? Or some built ventilator stuff. I think you guys are going to be switching over to helping produce those items. Um, Jeff, how you doing? Appreciate the thumbs up, guys. Really, really do. It helps us out a whole lot. So again, a lot of new names out there. Appreciate you folks being here. And with that, let's go ahead and see how gold and silver are doing this Monday morning over in Singapore. We'll head on over to our website, and US dollar, silver is up just a bit, 14.52. Gold is still hanging above that $1,600 range, which is pretty good. Looking at the ratio, we're at 111, which is pretty good. I think we were at 112, 113 as we went into Friday. Um, so we can see gold is still on the uptick since April, trying to work its way back up. Um, Silver is silver. It's going to be volatile. It's going to go up. It's going to come down. A lot of times quicker, faster, harder than gold. So silver, you just got to kind of hang in there. But at least the ratio's back down to 111, which is a good thing. Better than that 120 plus range. I mean, it's a good time to buy silver still, but nice to see that gap close down somewhat. Quick look at the Fed balance sheet. Just want to take a look at this really quick as well. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, Fed balance sheet. I mean, it's just going ballistic right now. We're going to hit 6 trillion very shortly. Within April for sure. We're going to probably pass that 6 trillion mark already, and there's no let up in sight. So again, thank you all for being here once again. Quick look at what you got going on. Polynesian Pip, aloha. How you doing out there? Shark Tooth Diver. There's plenty of gold and silver if you don't mind paying the ridiculous premiums for it. Well, you know what? I think it's really more of supply for one thing. It's tightening up a bit, but I think more than that, it's just the physical price is breaking away from that. I'm going to say just say paper spot price. So I mean, you could either say the premiums are ridiculous, or you could either say the spot prices were ridiculously low. So it can either or. Just depends how you wanna take a look at it. Let's see. Let's see. Roger, I bought the last 20 gold memos at Silver Bullion Thursday. Did you? Did you were the guy that did that? I couldn't buy any. You were the one who took it on. Thanks, Roger. No, good move. Good move. I mean, if you can get it, just get it. If you can get it, get it. Let's see. Nick B. I'll bet no one here can find physical at spot and under 10% premium. Nick B. Yep, agree. It's getting harder and harder to find, harder and harder to do. That's for sure. Let's see. Ride the curve. Finished up making maple syrup from my backyard trees. Yeah, I wish you could too. But I tell you what, hang on to that syrup because it just might do you some good if ever you need to use it for something. Let's just call it bartering if you need to. I mean, syrup's good. People will take that. Let's say what else is out there? Okay. eBay, monster boxes. Okay. Um, Christy Fernando, how you doing? All right, so let's just go ahead and take a look at the Twitter feed, real quick, just see what's on there. There are a few things that I bookmarked that just want to glance over with you guys. Mark Valek, uh, he's co-author of the In Gold We Trust report. It's a very good publication. In fact, it's free. You can head over to incrementum.com, I believe it is, and then you can download their free publication. This is pretty interesting. Initial claims. I'm assuming this means the jobs report. I mean, if you look at this, these gray bars are recessions. Okay, so recession, 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 and you can see the initial claims as far as unemployment. So each one has a tick going up, 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 29 up. And here we are in 2010. There's no gray bar yet, but I suspect next month there's going to be a gray bar. But you look at this guy here, it is just off, literally just about off the chart. We've never had this kind of unemployment claims into a recession. This is pretty worrying. We've never seen this. None of us have ever seen this. You look at all the past recessions, it's nowhere near where we are here with this red X. Nowhere near. So that there is a huge reason for concern with that, no doubt about it. Getting back to more of the Twitter feed, sorry about that. I take offense to the label gold bug and prefer to identify as buy currency curious. Buy currency curious. I think this is because he likes the fiat and gold, or it could be either gold and Bitcoin. So that was a bit of a funny one there. Peter Schiff says actually they are not running out. They already ran out. And he's talking about bubbles to create. The Fed is frantically trying to reinflate these bubbles. Whether or not they can do it, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Daniel Lacal, oil set to crater Monday as OPEC meeting delayed. Tensions flare between Saudi Arabia and Russia. Supposedly, these two countries are not on the same page as far as price and production, and Saudi has opted to go ahead and just put push out oil at a very low price, and we've seen oil stuck in the mid 20, low 20 range, and it's oil is going to have a hard time, especially the shale producers in the U.S. They need, I believe, about $50 per barrel to be profitable, and they're not getting it. They are nowhere near it. Jim Rickards, great article at Bloomberg, vindicates those who have recommended gold in diversified portfolios. Includes interview with me. Okay, maybe we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at this one. So this is from Bloomberg, and I think there was a little bit about James Rickards. I think he contributed. Gold bugs finally see their predictions of doom coming true. Well, it's not like anybody wished for it, right? Bullion is challenging treasuries as the best performing haven. Even mainstream analysts and investors are turning to gold. So according to Bloomberg, for years, gold bugs were relegated to the fringes of financial markets, often viewed by mainstream investors as tin foil hat conspiracists. With basements full of beans and bottled water, their warnings sounded apocalyptic, and a coming collapse in financial assets, widespread devaluation of paper money, and global disasters that erode civil liberties. Welcome to 2020. As the coronavirus brings economies around the world to a standstill, gold is rivaling treasuries and the dollar as the best performing major asset this year. The metal proved its haven status with a 6% rally as almost 16 trillion was wiped off global stock markets and oil plunged. There's also been a scramble for physical metal as investors in exchange traded funds build the biggest stockpile in history, and dealers say they're struggling to find gold to sell. So how the virus shows again, why okay, let me just skim through this a bit. We've been trying to warn people that something like this would happen, said Jim Rickards, the author of several books that predicted a coming financial reset. Rickards, who spoke from a New England mountain compound, has long recommended holding gold as a precaution for wealth preservation. I've been saying it for years, he says. I'm not happy about being right. So Jim Rickards, he had some input on that article, and I just want to see what you guys are saying as well. Let's see. Okay, hang on. Let me see. A lot of comments here. Michael Dickinson, I appreciate it. We're not perfect, but we try. It's more important just to have a community where we can talk about these things and try to figure out what's the right thing to do. That's pretty much where, where we're at. Let's see. Pabar, hyperinflation after the mail-in checks. A lot of guys still think it's deflation. I kind of think we'll have deflation still, but you can't rule out inflation, hyperinflation at this point. There's so much money going into the system. And, the thing about it is you have all this money being printed and then you have this free money going out, and you would expect the velocity of money to start to kick in. And then we'd see the inflation kick in a little bit. But I'm not so sure it's going to happen this time around, because the money that people are getting, it's basically enough to survive, to live on, to stay at home, get your groceries and whatnot. It's not enough to go ahead and go on a vacation. You can't do that right now. It's not enough to go ahead and get the finer things in life. It's just not enough to do those things right now. So in a strange way, the people are being given just enough, or maybe just a little bit more than enough, but not enough probably to go ahead and get that velocity of money going. And, sometimes you wonder, is this a way to keep that velocity of money just at a certain level to where it will not cause that inflation? Who knows? I'm not in the Fed. I don't know what they talk about, but it seems to me that yeah, we are looking at deflation somewhat still, but when you look at all the money out there, how are they going to control the inflation? Well, don't give the people too much to spend. Maybe that's what they're looking at, just from a basic viewpoint here. Bobby Jones, what's up? Let's see. Chris, the Fed will keep printing and buying everything in sight while the people will be left homeless, standing in bread lines. Yeah, hope not, Chris. It's not a nice thing to imagine, but then again, we're about being real, right? I mean, these things are not impossible. So they're things that we need to keep an eye on. And some of you guys were talking about food, and I came across this article that it speaks truth. A lot of us don't think about this, but food security fears are starting to threaten Asian rice exports. Okay, so Vietnam has temporarily halted sales of new rice shipments. Myanmar may cut exports in order to prevent local shortages. And if any of you guys know me, I've been talking about this for a while as well. So we'll get into this article. Panic buying at supermarkets and hoarding have raised fears over food supplies, and governments, for their part, are acutely aware that keeping everyone fed at affordable prices is crucial for political stability. And this is the part I've always said where, if you're a country that exports rice, say Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, and you're going through this crisis, the thing is, at some point, you may not really care how much someone is willing to buy your rice because you realize I need to feed my people. I need to feed my people at home, otherwise they're going to come after me. The political stability part. So at some point, where does fiat override your own population? So I mean your population's needs as far as food. So countries that do produce food, with the way things are going, they may be exporting less. Uh, Nonetheless, Russia, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine have already announced plans to limit wheat exports. And in Asia, worries over making sure there's enough food for everyone have now spread to rice, the main staple for billions of people in the region. China and India are the biggest global producers and consumers. So again, that's something to think about, the food, right? I mean, again, you have to imagine you're the king of a country and you have your subjects, let's just say, they're going to revolt on you if they don't get the basic necessities. So as king, you're going to make sure, hey, I gotta make sure my guys are being fed, right? And this is kind of what we're starting to see in these articles. So getting back to your comments here, let's see. You're only crazy until you're not, Michael B. That's a very true statement. Very, very true statement. Let's see. Nick B. Toilet paper is still a commodity until the dollar goes to its intrinsic value. Uh, Toilet paper, yeah, dollar's gonna be kind of rough if you know what I mean. So toilet paper is a bit better than that. Let's see. Danny the plumber. They have a plan. What exactly it is, no one knows, but it's not in favor of the people. It's sure looking like it's not in favor of the people, but again, you got to do what you got to do. Food, gold, silver, things like that. You got to have it. You really do have to have it. I mean, we've often talked about a wealth transfer, but with the so-called virus and maybe mandatory vaccinations and whatnot, it's not just a wealth transfer. We're maybe looking at a health transfer as well. The way they really want to take full control of your health. So just be awake to what's going on, right? I mean, that's the best we can do. Be awake and act on it. Let's see. Let's see. 4-9 fine. So sad that the average American believes that everything will be back to normal in a month or so after the Kung flu threat has passed. It will be harsh when the reality starts to sink in. Yeah, I'm not so sure if we're going to be able to get back to things within a month. It's it's really because this thing seems to be so contagious. You have to control that part of it first. And as I've said before, the virus cannot move on its own. It moves when people move. If people move, virus moves. It's as simple as that. If people don't move, virus doesn't move, and then it has a chance to whittle away and people get healthier. So, it's kind of a common sense thing, and let's just hope governments they start to appeal to common sense, because a lot of times common sense and the solution is staring you right in the face, and a lot of times they're looking in books trying to find the answer, but again the answer is just right in front of them. So I mean, perfect example of the Fed, I suppose, right? And talking about gold bugs getting it right, ran across this other article where there's not enough gold. And not to say that we're running out of gold, it's just to say that we're running out of production of gold. So let's be clear on that difference. It's not that there's no more gold to find or to be mined. It's just that refiners have slowed down, and what used to be shipped by plane is now going by ship. So it's taking longer to get to us. So anyway, coronavirus pushes London banks to consider additional gold storage sites. Okay, so this came out last week. The five banks that clear gold trades in the London market are considering expanding their network of storage locations to other countries if it becomes impossible to fly enough gold in and out of London, said two sources. So this is what we just talked about. They can't move the gold and silver quick enough. The move would be aimed at reducing the risk of disruption if metal cannot reach London, the world's most important physical gold trading hub, where trades are underpinned by metal held in high security vaults. Five banks, HSBC, JP Morgan, Scotiabank, UBS, and ICBC Standard, clear trades worth about 30 billion per day. And lockdowns to contain the spread of the coronavirus have already shut down several major metal refineries and most global air travel. This caused gold prices in New York and London to move sharply apart this week as traders worried, or last week, as traders worried that metal couldn't be flown from London to New York to settle contract obligations. And this is where a lot of us, we like to think, okay, they oversold the paper gold. There's not enough physical gold. That is true. A lot of times that is true. But in this case, it wasn't that the metal ran out. It did in some ways, but it wasn't where it ran out and there's no more to be found. It's just that it ran out and no more could be shipped. Again, because most of the time it goes by plane. It's going to be there in a matter of hours. But in this case, can't go by plane anymore. So it has to go by ship. So it's going to take a little bit longer to get there. And that's why I suppose they're looking at different vaults throughout the world. So very, very interesting. Coming up on SBTV, we got Leor Gantz and we're going to have David Morgan. And I think some of you guys have responded to questions that you might want us to ask David Morgan for you. So be sure to leave a message in the community group. Leor Gantz, he's a deep value investor. Leor delivers a unique perspective to investors. He loves researching businesses that are off the radar and completely unknown to most financial publications. And we have David Morgan. I think most of you know him, widely recognized analyst in the precious metals industry. He consults for hedge funds, mining companies, depositories, and individual investors. Publisher of the Morgan Report and author of the book, The Silver Manifesto. As a public service, David provides a free weekly e-letter available at the Morgan Report. So I do hope you guys have time to check out these two interviews. Once again, subscribe, click on the bell, and you'll be notified when these interviews are up. And as always, if you have someone you'd like to see, let us know, and we'll try and get them for you. So, some of these interesting things. Hang on, let me go back a bit. One more bit of news, because this is pretty important also, and it's going to be where the program starts to head, because what we saw last week was that the Fed basically is going to create a global repo market. And this is from the Singapore Straits Times, where the Fed takes on role of world's central bank, pumping out dollars amid coronavirus crisis. The U.S. Federal Reserve is acting as a central banker to the world by seeking to provide the global financial system with the dollar liquidity it needs to avoid seizing up. In its latest measure to combat the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic, the Fed said last week it was establishing a temporary becomes permanent, a temporary repurchase agreement facility to allow foreign central banks to swap any treasury securities they hold for cash. That's yet another step beyond the actions it took in the 2008 financial crisis. To the Federal Reserve's credit, it is playing the role of central banker to the world rather than denying it and trying to ward it off, said former Fed official Ted Truman, who is now a senior friend. Okay, well, I think you guys get the gist of it. Basically, what's going on is the Fed is buying up the world, funding the world, throwing money through all four corners of the earth. It's it's really gotten that bad already, where they need to do things like this. And going back to this last article, the Federal Reserve announces this establishment of a temporary, what they call FIMA repo facility to help support the smooth functioning of financial markets. Basically, as we're saying, the Fed is financing the world. So just want to take a look at what the Fed had put out in their press release. And this came out at the end of March, where they established their temporary FEMA repo facility. So Fed announced last week the establishment of a temporary repurchase agreement facility for foreign and international monetary authorities, FIMA, to help support the smooth functioning of financial markets, including U.S. Treasury market, and thus maintaining the supply of credit to U.S. households and businesses. Okay, so that's the gist of it. Looking at some of the FAQs about this, so we kind of went over what it is. Who's eligible? Most FEMA account holders, which consists of central banks and other foreign monetary authorities which accounts or with accounts at the Fed, at the New York Fed, will be eligible to apply to use this facility. So this is kind of like the repo market, except it's a global repo market. Let me see if anything else is in there. Okay, yeah, it's basically a global repo market. So why are they doing this? Excuse me. What's happening here is there's just not enough US dollars, excuse me, around the globe to pay US dollar denominated debt. To get dollars, treasuries are being sold in the treasury market. And this is something that the Fed does not want to happen. If treasuries flood into the market, prices come down, interest rates go up. If interest rates rise, there will be a point where monthly payments, simply cannot be met. So therefore, the Fed is taking no chance for interest rates to rise and created this global repo market. The Fed will take in treasuries and send out dollars in a heartbeat, assuring liquidity and credit around the globe continues to flow and eliminating the threat of interest rates rising. Would you say we're in trouble yet? Absolutely. So that's why we're seeing the Fed take these actions. They cannot allow these treasuries to go into the treasury market. They have to clean it up as quick as they can. Otherwise, these interest rates are going to rise, and then we're going to be in an even bigger mess. Let's see. Polynesian Pip, I see your message, but I'm going to avoid it. Going to avoid that one, my man. Let's see what's on your mind. Let's see. Face. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure where. I'm trying to get a beat on where you guys are at right now. Okay, Federal Reserve is dead. Depends on how would you answer that? I mean they're dead, but they're not. I mean it's a weird situation. I mean, dead in the sense that they've run out of things that they could do, or we think they've run out of things that they could do already. But then again, they're alive in that they will think of something. They'll think of something next. So it's a strange place that they're in. Right now. Adrian, never will be gold-backed currency again. Never say never. I mean, nobody knows. Nobody knows the future. But one thing for sure, we saw banks buying up a whole lot of gold to hold in reserves last year, more than they've ever done in 50 plus years. So there's a reason for that. We'll find out what it is. And I'm sure we're not going to have to wait too long to find out why all of these things were happening. The Fed is stronger than ever. I'd have to agree. And that's kind of falls in line where, in a sense, the Fed is dead in some ways, but absolutely not in other ways. And they probably are stronger than they've ever been, more influential than they've ever been around the world. We're we're going to have to see what's in store, how this thing is going to, how it's going to play out. Anyway, so I want to go across one more article regarding this Fed FEMA thing, this global repo market. Fed repo market. Fed opens repo facility for foreign central banks and monetary authorities. So Federal Reserve has established a temporary repurchase agreement facility for foreign and international monetary authorities. Okay, we got that part. We understand it's a repo, repurchase agreements where they really want to be able to use those treasuries as collateral and get dollars back out to them. A lot of it is going to be overnight repos. So through this facility, the Foreign Monetary Authority temporarily exchanges their U.S. Treasury securities held with the Federal Reserve for U.S. dollars, which are made available to banks in their countries and jurisdictions. Thus, this facility provides an additional source of U.S. dollars aside from the sales of securities in the open market. Ultimately, this facility will help reduce risks to U.S. financial markets due to financial stresses abroad by maintaining the flow of credit to U.S. households and businesses during the pandemic. The facility reduces the need for central banks to sell their treasury securities outright and into illiquid markets, which will help to avoid disruptions to the treasury market and upward pressure on yields. This was the part we're talking about where these interest rates are going to go up. So by supporting by allowing central banks to use their securities to raise dollars quickly and efficiently, the facility will also support local markets in US dollars and bolster broader market confidence. Okay, this is sounding like Jerome Powell here. Maybe this author was wearing a purple tie when he wrote this. So they're using securities or treasuries as collateral to go ahead and get US dollars. I'm going to bring up another point shortly. Just want to look through more of your messages and see what are you guys thinking about or saying. Um, Tony, Tony. I read that one. If they want to get rid of the dollar, huh? Okay. Yeah, I got that. Let's see. To infinity and beyond. Yeah, I think that's the money printing. That's the Fed balance sheet. Infinity and beyond. What can you say? And I think a lot of us are looking at gold and silver to eventually have to play their role once the Fed hits a dead end. So gold and silver could be infinity and beyond also. So just have to say goodbye to someone there. Let's see. Federal Reserve has been merged with the U.S. Treasury, Oregon Herbalist. Yeah, we talked about that last week as well, where it does seem to be some kind of a merge between the two entities. So let's see. Okay, hang on. USA equals Zimbabwe, Adrian. I think a lot of countries are going to be Zimbabwe, and if not hyperinflating, a lot of these currencies are going to pretty much go down. So whether USA is equal to Zimbabwe or not, I don't think it matters because every country is in the same position. Even if they were a little bit more responsible, where they didn't print as much, the thing is, U.S. dollar is the world reserve currency. So if that dollar goes down, all currencies are going to go down with it. So there's nothing, no good takeaway from that. But I mean, I understand what you mean, though. CC Chan, will silver price surge? You got to give it time. I mean, I know I sound like everyone else, right? But you go back to the crisis of 2007, 2008. You didn't see gold and silver. I mean, slowly, but it wasn't until 2011 that they reached their all-time highs. So it's not an instant thing. It takes some time, but it my opinion, yes, it's going to go up. But the thing is, does it really matter if you compare it in dollar terms? Dollar terms aren't going to matter at that point because if it goes up the way it's going to go, I mean, there's going to be a lot of lost confidence in currency anyway. So are you going to sell it back for dollars at that time? I mean, it depends on how the world is. I mean, you may not want to go back into dollars. You may want to use it to go ahead and use it to get a flat, to get a business, to for something. You know, you may want to use it along those lines because for the guys that didn't buy gold and silver, they're going to be looking for that store of wealth, that store of value. So I'm pretty sure, you know, it's going to go up in value, but whether it's a dollar value or whether it's a trade value, one or maybe both. That's how I see it. So it is going to go up. My opinion is going to go up in a dollar or a trade value or maybe both, probably both. So I mean, it's a good question. Driver M, no cash to stack right now. Yeah, let's see. Everyone run to silver and gold. You know, everyone has run to silver and gold to a point where the virus kind of pulled it off the shelves for now. But I think when it's back there, when it comes back, I think we're going to see guys. Yeah, they're going to dive right back in again, and that's because the time that it's taking for the silver and gold to get back on the shelves, people are watching. They're watching what's going on, all this money printing and things, and I'm sure they're going to want to move from fiat to something else, to some store of value. But I think a lot of guys, they want to make sure it's there first before they buy it. So I think when production comes back online, I think we're going to see a second, third, fourth wave just coming into to gold and silver. And again, it's not all about price. You know, these are guys who understand the store of wealth, how it's your insurance against what's going on with fiat. So a lot of good questions out there. A lot of good questions out there. Okay, so you know these companies, or I should say countries, these countries, they're using their treasuries as collateral. But you know, thinking about it, I started to ask myself, you know, what happens if this collateral gets tight? So let me ask you, what happens when collateral starts running tight? What are countries going to do? Will they use their gold reserves as collateral? I mean, I think this is something that maybe it's just a matter of time before reserves may have to be used. And I'm just going to throw this out there for you guys to think about. If that is so, maybe this is why we're seeing gold prices suppressed somewhat. Because if that's going to be collateral, then you want to take as much of it as you can, right? So is that the reason why it's being suppressed? Who knows? I mean, you know, it's sorry about that. Who knows? You know, there's a lot of reasons why people want to hold the gold and silver price down, but you know, we'll see what happens with that. And the reason I say this is because there was an article that came out from Martin Armstrong where he talked about Italy to put up government buildings as collateral for loans. Now this is not in the repo market, but it's just to say that there may be other things that will have to be used as collateral. Europe is the epic center of our economic doom. Their socialist policies have been following Marx since World War II. Again, this is Martin Armstrong from Armstrong Economics. They have used the quantity theory of money and took interest rates negative in 2014 and have been unable to stimulate their economies because they tax the rich, which has done nothing but impoverish people as small businesses fail to form. Whatever they could have done to destroy their economy, they have done right in queue and with such zeal. Pretty strong words from Martin Armstrong here. So with Keynesian, I always say it every time I see that word. With Keynesian economics utterly destroyed, the ECB is promoting Corona bonds because they have nothing left to try except canceling the paper currency. Italy is stepping out and has seen the light that the austerity policy which has been imposed upon them has devastated their economy. The conversion of national debts to the euro only doubled their real outstanding debt, and the politicians lacked any understanding of the economic real world to realize what they have done. So here we go. Italy is now looking at providing government real estate as guarantees to secure billions in loans. These include the building of the House of Representatives and the seat of the Premier. This illustrates that there is a crisis in debt. People are no longer willing to buy government bonds at absurdly low rates when credit risk is rising exponentially. What's left? Not much to support a European economy destined to be the greatest economic failure since the fall of communism. What is next for sale? Perhaps all the art in the national museums. Martin Armstrong, some pretty pointed words there, but I mean, he has a point. What happens? I mean, nobody wants to buy the bonds anymore. The rates aren't that good. So what's the government going to do? They're going to have to put their own buildings up for sale, for auction, for collateral, whatever it is. Problem is, those buildings are the people's buildings. I mean, you and I pay taxes that built these buildings, that take care of these buildings. So that one's going to be a rough go for sure. Definitely going to be a rough go for sure. Again, some of your questions and comments. Nick B, the door has been open for the MM tiers. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're seeing it. We're definitely seeing this going on right now. Frank, why should the American pay tax? Why should anyone pay tax since the Fed or any central bank can print as much fiat as they want? And Frank, another great point. I mean, I think it's just a matter of time before people they're going to get fed up and see all this money being thrown around, helping all these businesses, and yet they're only being given enough just to basically survive right now on this lockdown. So I think, this is something that either is going to wake people up or it's going to put them to sleep even more, where they're not going to care. Oh, I'm staying home. I'm getting a check. Life is good. I can just stay home all day. But other guys, they're going to feel like, hey, it, why am I even paying taxes if they can print all this money? Why did I pay taxes this year? Why did I pay taxes last year? Why did I pay taxes the year before? Why are they even dipping into my paycheck, taking out some of my salary for taxes if they could have just printed money all this time and just went ahead and taken care of it? So again, these are all things, they all go back to perhaps 71 when gold standard, the window was closed. Gold held governments in check. They could only print as much money as they had proportionately, whatever the ratio was, to how much gold they had. And ever since that gold was taken off the gold window, the gold was taken out, gold window was closed. I showed you guys charts where home prices started to rise after that happened. After 71, 72, we saw home prices rise a whole lot. And, like I think I shared with you guys before, my parents' house was 17,000, I believe, back in 71, 72, about there when they bought it, was $17,000. Today, that house is easily about right around 350, $400,000. The house didn't do anything. The land didn't expand. If anything, the wood got older. How could it have gone gone up that much? Well, there's like I said, when you close that gold window, you're gonna have inflation, and you know they calculated. It seemed to be calculating it different ways, but that house did nothing. If anything, it's got older. Like I say, there's no land that was added to it. It's still the same single story. It's not no additions were really made to it, but still, and this is what we're seeing. Once that gold window was closed, banks They can print money. Politicians kick the can down the road, and even to a point where now we're seeing, a lot of these things that surely do look like MMT. So again, just want to take a look at a few more of your comments here. C. Michael Armstrong assumes politicians make the decisions. Puppets is what they are. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're supposed to be working for us, right? Name me five politicians that work for you. I dare you. Just name five if you can. Hard to find, right? Let's see. Fed up, very funny. Yeah. Um, I guess I might have taken that from Danielle DiMartino's booth. She was with the Fed before, and she wrote a book called Fed Up, and she's fed up with the Fed, and she basically vented out in that book. It's a good book. It's a very, very good book. True Patriot. Driver, I think. Oh, well, thanks. But I think all of us are, no matter what country we're in, I think we're all getting to a point where fed up. We're getting to that point. And, you know, most guys, if they worked hard, they did well, they earned a bit, they want it to be there. And this is why they go into gold and silver, store of wealth, store of value. And so they keep it in these things. Average Joes, we work hard also. We're just simply trying to provide for our families, give the families as much as we can, try to give them the best things that we can afford to give them. And, it doesn't help when you're giving your time and your labor, as Mike Maloney would often say, you're giving your time and your labor to go ahead and get these fiat paper. And then the Fed just goes ahead and prints it all up and throws it all over the place to businesses and globally, in fact. So, I mean, what does that tell you as a person? Is your time valued? Is your labor valued? Not as much as we'd want it to be. That's what it's saying. Anyway, so I want to get back to this, where Italy is considering using government buildings as collateral. Okay, so, again, granted, that article was more about loans within Italy's or the EU's own economy. The point is, we are headed to a place, or it surely looks like we're headed to a place where things we own, things that belong to the people, perhaps even private ownership of assets, could be taken by governments to service the debt. And why do I say that? Because there is no way tax revenue is going to pay for all of this. A fraction at best. So tax revenues are not going to cover it. What would cover it? Assets, real assets. So, again, this is why, it's you need to understand what jurisdictions can help you, what jurisdictions are favorable to you, because when it comes to things like this, you just don't know what your home government is going to do. I mean, if Italy is considering using government buildings, I mean, what's next? They're going to be looking at people's homes. I mean, what is it? I mean, where they're going to stop. So you need to understand the jurisdiction that you're in, and you need to understand the other jurisdictions out there that can help you. And again, this is why we do what we do, because Singapore's jurisdiction is incredibly stable. They work hard to be as transparent as they are, and really, you look under the hood, you see everything. Everything's there, nothing hidden, and that's one of the things that I appreciate after spending time in Singapore. It's one of the things I appreciate about this place. But getting back to some of your comments, 495 Mike Maloney woke me up. He did a lot of people. I think that guy single-handedly woke up most of the people that started to understand about silver and gold. Came through the school of Mike Maloney and his first four, anyway, the hidden secrets of money. I think the first four were very good. After that, well, I like the first four. Yeah, Mike Maloney's a great guy. We've been trying to get him on also. So Steve Bass, your parents' house will be 17 I mean, I'm laughing because who knows? It very well could be. I mean, if this depression, deflation, all of this stuff comes in, real estate could take a very, very huge hit. So I'm laughing at it, but it's because it's comical that something that did so well when it didn't do anything may come back to what it was like 50 years ago. So I don't know. I mean, it's just a comical place that we're in right now. So anyway, yeah, what do we do? I mean, if Italy is looking at collateralizing their own buildings, but back to this whole FEMA thing, the repo facility FEMA is designed to allow central banks to use their treasury securities as collateral to raise dollars quickly. The term or the duration of using treasuries is collateral, or using these treasuries as collateral, sorry about that, is overnight. So they want it to be quick. But however, this term agreement can be rolled over as needed. So they can keep doing it again and again and again and again. And, when this whole repo market thing came to our attention back in September of last year, that word overnight, temporary, overnight, those were words that were used quite often. And then we heard the word term. Term was used more often, where this overnight thing became 2 weeks, became 1 month. So, we'll see how this plays out with this global repo market if it ends up having 2 week, 1 month terms. Supposedly for now anyway, it's supposed to be overnight. And this virus, it has stopped the global economy as a whole from functioning. The Fed pretty much just injected the world with US dollars. And with all this money floating around, the word I keep hearing is reset. And I'm sure you folks are hearing this word as well. This word reset, we hear it, but what's it really what's it gonna look like? Strangely enough, there was an article from Bitcoin.com where they talked about Disney World economics, how coronavirus could be used to justify a global financial reset. This article goes on to say, what in the world is going on has now become a question of real pertinence instead of just a cliche for common bewilderment. As the virus panic grips the world, ripple effects are crashing markets and effectively canceling economies across the globe, scrawling the writing on the wall for something big. Even the beloved Walt Disney World has announced it will close its doors for the time being. It stands to examine then whether there is substance to the idea that the world grinding to a halt could be used to implement a new financial paradigm, one that is digital, surveillance-based, and most importantly covers the economic sins of unsustainable times past. Recent news of the Disney shutting down brings attention to another Magic Kingdom, the whimsical, endless credit monarchy of Keynesian recklessness. It too appears to be reaching a terminal impasse. There is speculation the virus pandemic could be the perfect opportunity for the world's financial planners to cover their past sins of mega bubbles, unsustainable inflation, and debt creation, wiping the slate clean. This time, with a decided focus on digital surveillance, control, and unmitigated printing powers, using the disease outbreak as a convenient scapegoat. But is there any substance to such conspiracy talk? Because a lot of guys will say this is conspiracy talk. So in the interest of avoiding tinfoil hat, baseless assertions when looking to the future here, it's best to understand what has already been established on the world economic scene prior to the outbreak. A few major facts to bear in mind. Global economy was running out of options for dealing with recession as major economies headed closer and closer to further beyond the zero bound, engaged in massive stimulus and continued to create artificial credit bubbles. central bank digital currencies, which we've talked about, CBDCs, were actively being developed and researched, and China's version, the digital yuan, is already complete and in the testing phases. Financial policymakers around the globe have been noting the utility these could have for forcing monetary policy on individuals. And we talked about that also, where physical cash enables them to evade such things as negative interest rates in banks. This is things we've talked about, right? Fewer and fewer people were expressing confidence in state authorities and their respective central banks. Political unrest, much of which was concerned with economic policy, was manifested in unprecedented fashion via demonstrations worldwide. Decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin were increasingly viewed favorably by a significant segment in the context of centralized corruption, worldwide bailouts, and distrust of leaders, even on mainstream media outlets. The fake news guys, right? We're always seeing these things. Danny the plumber, perfect distraction. Seems like everything's a distraction. The mouse is getting it's Mickey, right? There you go. Faith, okay. Not gonna read that one, but it's a pretty good one. Let's see. Adrian, interview with Jeff Berwick. We've left we have left messages with Jeff, and we do communicate. So we'll try to get him on. You know, he has interesting views and viewpoints. Dollar vigilante. So we'll continue to try and get Jeff Berwick on. Let's see. Driver M. I dream of waking up the silver being $5 higher, and all the shorts are racing to get out with no offers in sight. Yeah, I mean, I think guys have been waiting for a long time. I think it's it's well overdue. It's well overdue. Let's see. If the White House is so anti-Fed, why do we still have these corrupt bankers there? I think when it comes to the Fed, we've said this before. It's the Fed octopus where they have the tentacles and everything. I don't think it's as simple as ending the Fed. I mean, you end the Fed, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to end also, that are going to collapse also, that are going to become non-existent. And I think, a lot of people could potentially get hurt. So, I mean, if we want to end the Fed, there has to be a way to systematically do it where on one side, of the scale, if there's a loss one side, there's a gain on another to make up for that loss. I mean, to try and pull the plug one shot, a lot of things will go down the drain. So I think, if it's something a lot of people want to do, there has to be a systematic way to do it. And I think that systematic way to do it firstly starts with the people that you put in office. It all starts and ends there. That's where it comes to. If you want to end it, you got to put in people who feel the same way, who understand really what's going on. That's really where it is. You want to end the Fed, it starts with people who you put in your local, or I should say Congress. People you put in the House, people you put in the Senate, it all starts there, and it ends there. So we'll see. Broke bastard. I like that name. Politicians are not our allies; they are allies of the bankers. Yeah, that's broke bastard. That's what we're just talking about. You're on it. You see that also. You see it also. Okay, good. Let's see. Travis R. Excuse me. What's your opinion on the miners being shut down and mints being closed? It can go so many different directions. I mean, I know a lot of guys are saying miners should shut down and then create a shortage on the market, and then we'll see gold and silver rise. I know there's that thought, but then again, there's so much capital cost expenditures to run a mine. You have to keep it. You almost have to keep it going. So, I mean, I think they should keep going. because what we're starting to see right now is silver and gold are starting to work itself out anyway from the paper spot price. So I think they should continue. But I think Keith Newmeyer from I think he's at First Majestic still, or did he change again? But he's been pretty vocal about it. Where at least you look at OPEC, these oil producing countries, they formed a club, a union. I think miners need to do the same if they can. Create some type of an OPEC for mining companies. I think they need to do that. Why? Because OPEC pretty much controls the supply of oil coming onto the market. In some ways, that controls the price. If miners did that, they would be able to do the same. So, but whether or not they have as Keith Newmeyer put it, whether or not they have the cojones to do it, for now, the answer is no. They don't have it in them to do that. Good question. Good question. So let's see. Where are we at? Okay. So anyway, 5G towers seem like 5G towers. Yeah, some people they say 5G has something to do with this. I mean, there's both sides of that argument. I mean, you can't just dismiss it. There may be some things in there, but we all have to do our due diligence and see where the source is. Look at where the source is, or who's the source whenever we take in these articles. A lot of information out there. A lot of good, a lot of misleading, a lot of straight up false information. So it's always difficult now to really see it. So anyway, that article was came from Bitcoin.com, where they talked about Disney and central bank digital currencies, and it speaks about gold, Bitcoin, and it's all debatable, but central bank digital currencies are not. That's not debatable. It's going to happen. We've spoken on this numerous times, and it's becoming more mainstream to hear those words or those letters strung together: CBDC, central bank digital currency. But here's the thing: what if I told you the last crisis back in 2008 already put the wheels in motion to perhaps use this current crisis to usher in the new monetary system? So I want you guys to take a look at this. And most importantly, what I want you guys to notice is the date. It's here in black. If you can see my mouse here, just go up a bit. September 9th, 2009. So this was 11 years ago. Okay, well, over 10 years ago. United Nations proposes new global currency. This was in 2009. Okay. United Nations would like the dollar, euro, yen, and other national currencies to be succeeded by a new global currency. This was before cryptocurrency. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. That recommendation appears in a UN report released, well, back then anyway, which suggests the dollar's outsized role in international finance has ended. This was back in 2008. They're considering or saying that it's ended, and says that it's time to invent a successor currency that would be managed by a global reserve bank. So again, this is 2009, after the 2008 crisis. Countries could agree to exchange their own currencies for the new currency, so that the global currency would be backed by a basket of currencies, all the members, says the 218-page report. Kind of sounds like a SDR at that point, right? If you guys are familiar with SDRs. Keep in mind that this is a UN report written by bureaucrats without any actual legal ability to create the global equivalent of the Federal Reserve. Anyone who remembers how a UN agency once called for a global email tax of 1 cent per 100 email messages, but didn't exactly get it. This is the UN, right? The unimportant. The UN report grew out of the financial problems that swept the world in the last year or two, which it diagnoses as arising from too much speculation in commodity markets, a bubble in stock markets and housing markets, and trade imbalances between countries like China and the US. Its prescription: more stringent financial regulation and diversification away from dollars. As part of the new system of constant exchange rates, nice name here, this Secretary General also wants vigorous global actions, including managing energy prices through taxes to dramatically cut greenhouse gas emissions. The diversification away from dollars, this idea is a close cousin to what the Chinese government has been saying recently. China, of course, can now claim the dubious honor of being the largest foreign holder of U.S. treasuries. Again, this is 2009, worth a total of over 700 billion. So anyway, okay, I think we get it. I think we get it, right? So back in 2009, after the 2007-2008 crisis, the UN was already calling for a different type of monetary system, get away from the dollar, a global reserve bank, which, what do we call it? A one world currency? I mean, they were calling for this back in 2009. There's going to be calls for it again. There's going to be calls for cashless now. And, so again, these are things that, you know, these people who are not accountable to us, but somehow they want to lay it out what their plan is for us. And it's this is why, again, you got to be your own bank. If you're really locked into their whole fiat paper system, you are locked in. But if you have things outside of this financial system, then at least you have some sort of an exit or parallel play. Now, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, which my choices are, mainly because of the monetary history, or whether it's crypto. But with crypto, do consider central bank digital currencies. What role is crypto going to play once these things come out? So, we don't know, and for that reason, I do tend to stick with gold and silver myself. Again, because of that monetary history. If the banks buy it, I'm buying it. It's as simple as that. If they're holding it in reserves, I'm going to hold some in reserves too. And again, do what they do, not necessarily do what they say or what they want you to do, but you just got to watch them, and what they do are things that you should be doing as well. So again, taking a look at these questions and comments. Adrian, thank you. Take care of yourself. Have a good day, good sleep, good week ahead. Weme, people are walking dead. Doesn't it feel like that nowadays? I mean, you go outside and it's like you feel like Walking Dead. It's like you're almost afraid to go out of your house. And if you're going to go out of your house, you suit up. You're going to get your mask, or maybe you're going to be wearing two masks. You got your sanitizer, your little alcohol wipes, things like that. It's really it's amazing, and it's amazing. It's just amazing. Faith, get rid of the UN. Um, maybe it had another purpose in another time, in another era, but somehow their purpose nowadays just seems to be collectively trying to unify the world, which I guess is not entirely bad if people are united, but the world is so diverse. You cannot force unification on people, much less force some type of unified currency and things like that. People are just too diverse, different cultures, different ways of thinking, different thresholds of acceptance. So, what the UN's role is now, really not sure. Not sure what they're really needed for, except to be, it's almost like, I hate to say it, but like propaganda a lot of times, but they're still in existence. Um, so let's see. Sorry about that. Let's see. John Shore, Coastal Coffee will be $10. Um, let's, hey man, let's hope not. That's too much. I need my coffee. 495. I can't see cashless working at all in cash-based countries like Vietnam. Well, I mean, in simple terms, you know, all it's going to take is just, you know, what came out last week where I believe it was Nancy Pelosi, or what was hidden in that stimulus bill was that the Fed should be creating its own central bank digital currency, and they need to be creating digital wallets. And once those things are ready, what does it become? Turn in your dollars for this central bank digital currency, and here's your digital wallet. You don't have to worry about it, being robbed, or people using it for illegal things, or it'll be spun. It will be spun to make you think it's the right thing to do. So I guess in a place like Vietnam, yeah, it would take a bit longer. I mean, you need the infrastructure there. You need to have that wireless infrastructure wherever you're at, because if you're really out in rural areas, how do you go about it? I mean, you can't be out on the farm one day, then drive into town to get supplies, and they don't take your cash. So I mean, it has to be one fell swoop, all of it done one time, one shot. Lark Ball, hey, appreciate it, my man. Grow your own food. Yes, if you can, do it. Seeds. Get seeds if you can. Those are going to be hot commodities, man. I think I've always felt seeds are going to be something that you could definitely use. So anyway, that was the thing with the UN. And it's now more than ever, you need to get things like gold and silver, and how gold affects currency from Investopedia. I'll just go down to the last paragraph here. The bottom line: gold has a profound impact on the value of world currencies. Even though the gold standard has been abandoned, gold as a commodity can act as a substitute for fiat currencies and be used as an effective hedge against inflation. There's no doubt that gold will continue to play an integral role in the foreign exchange markets. Therefore, it is an important metal to follow and analyze for its unique ability to represent the health of both local and international international economies. And so again, gold and silver, it's more than just price. So I just want to leave a few comments with you guys, closing comments. I'm going to have to head out and take care of some things. We're pretty busy, as you folks could imagine, but just want to leave with some commentary here. With all this money printing, inflation is on the table, and my thinking is we are going to see a deflation first. A lot of guys say that. Gerald Celente, Doug Casey, a lot of people do say it. The Fed is supporting Wall Street. The Fed is supporting Main Street, and the Fed is basically supporting the world right now. Um, you know, this helicopter money, the people's punch bowl, the global punch bowl, everyone all over the world is invited to the Fed's party. Come on down. We're going to give you things. The problem is no country, no business, no market, no person might ever be able to leave this party. And we talked about it. 2008 could never take the punch bowl away from Wall Street. So how do we get out of this? Businesses cannot grow unless revenues, profits grow. And that in large part comes from people, you and me, spending and buying their goods and services. In turn, people cannot spend unless we have a job or some sort of income that allows us the breathing room to simply enjoy these little extras in life. As I've said before, a healthy economy cannot exist without a healthy population. The population, we're going to be healthy once again. Stay healthy now if you can, but people will heal. People will get better. Population is going to get healthy once again, both physically and mentally. A lot of people are getting scarred out there, but just hang in there. The economy is changing to something we may no longer recognize, and we may be in that transition period. We could be. This is when gold and silver perform. This is when gold and silver perform. These metals are going to get you through this transition. And that might very well be why we see the physical prices of these metals are already moving forward, storing wealth today and carrying it over from this system that is it's breaking. It's right before our eyes. It's crumbling. It's breaking into whatever new system or economy that the powers that be are planning to bring us tomorrow. So again, this is why it's not only about price. Get yourself some gold if you can. It's not financial advice, professional or otherwise. It's just, I'm just going to say common sense. It's something you have to do. Get yourself some gold. Get yourself some silver. You got to do these things. You got to know how to keep it. Where are you going to keep it? Should you keep it all with you? Do you have a lot? Should you keep some with you, some in a different location, some in a different jurisdiction? There's so many different ways to look at it. But everybody's situation is unique. You have to do what works for you. And again, this is one of the reasons why if you want to, go ahead and email us, and maybe there's something that we can provide for you to help you either understand or to help you get through it all. It's something that we can work out. In fact, let me back up a bit. If you have not already, I would urge you guys to go to our go to our website, silverbullion.com.sg, and then hang on, I'm trying to find something here. You go to storage, and then you go down to download investor kit. It's a free publication, so go ahead and download it. It's free, and you can just go ahead and look through it. There's some pretty good information here, such as why buy gold and silver, buying tax exempt bullion in Singapore. So you got to know which ones are tax exempt. Why silver? Again, safely storing wealth outside the banking system. These are things we continually talk about. Genuinity guarantee. You got to know what you're buying is real. A lot of places you're gonna buy gold, you're gonna put it in a vault, but did anyone ever test it? You don't know what you're storing. You may not be storing real gold. You don't know. You got to have it tested. And it's just through some other basic things like how you would transfer in maybe gold and silver that you want to ship, or sometimes it may be better just to even sell it in your own location and rebuy it in another location that you intend to store at. So these are some good bits of information for everyone to have out there. And again, it's free. Just go to the website, www.silverbullion.com.sg, click over storage, and then you'll see download investor kit. More and more, when I take a second, a third, a fourth look at this kit, it's valuable. It does provide a lot of good info. So I hope you guys go ahead and pick that up. So some more questions and comments, and then I'll be heading out. Never fear, the Exchange Stabilization Fund is here. See, Michael. Hey, yeah, okay. Windsor 4270. Haven't seen you before. Welcome aboard. There's no logic in politics. Sorry. Yeah. Well, what's going on with the world we live in, huh? So let's see what else is out there. Okay, U.S. commoners fishing for food. Fishing is good. Fishing is good. So, okay. So that I think we'll be heading out a bit. But one last article before we go. Let me just get to it real quick. This is from Jeff Goodlock. He said a few interesting things. I believe it was a Bloomberg article, but then it was rehashed on Kitco. So anyway, surging demand for gold-backed exchange-traded funds, a lot of people on ETFs, is raising a red flag for Double Line CEO and Wall Street's bond king, Jeffrey Gundlach. Purchasing paper gold ETFs could be a huge failure. A huge failure in entire gold delivery system, as there is not enough of the yellow metal to cover all the paper demand, Gundlach said last week. If After buying a gold-backed ETF, investors might want to get their hands on that physical gold. There might not be any left. So that's coming from Jeff Goodluck. So if you guys are out there, you're thinking about putting money in ETFs, sure call. It's your call. But whether or not you're going to get gold, it's can't say if you will or if you won't. So it's better just to go ahead and get the real thing. That's probably the wiser choice. But again, I'm not offering, it's just my opinion. It's not financial advice, professional or otherwise. So with that, I mean, do think about what you need to do. Again, protect and provide. That's our job. That's what we need to do right now. Protect and provide. As always, be the blessing, not a burden. You want to be a blessing to as many people as you can. You don't really want to be the burden, so you need to do some of these things and really don't procrastinate, because the world is moving ahead without you and it's flying. Things are going quick, so you gotta be quicker. You just have to be quicker. We all do, and your best defense right now is common sense. Just have common sense. Look around, see what's going on, and again, when it comes to gold and silver, it's not about price. It's about what they do as an insurance for things like what we're seeing. It's about being a store of wealth, and it's about if this whole new economic, financial, monetary system comes into play, you're out of, in some ways, you're out of the system right now. So you're protected in a sense to when this transition happens, it'll carry over what you have today into tomorrow. It's your wealth vehicle. That's pretty much what it is. Not always about price. So a few more comments and I'll head out. Ride the curve. I love gold. I do too, but as you guys know, I'm more of a silver guy. It's good to have both metals. Definitely good to have both metals. Gold is stability. It is. Absolutely. ETFs going down with articles like this from Jeff Goodluck. I mean, I think people need to really take a hard look at it. I mean, speculation is one thing. Protection is an entirely different ballgame. Entirely different. Okay, so with that, I'll be heading out. Daniel the Plumber, great advice. Thank you. I mean, as I've always said, it's not about me. It's about you guys. It's about your comments, because when new guys come on, and I see a lot of you new guys, they're looking at what you're commenting. They're looking at what you're writing. They're looking at your feelings, your take on things, not necessarily mine. I'm just a driver. It's like I'm just driving. That's all. You guys are in the front seat, back seats, talking to each other. Your conversation is what the other guys are looking at. They're hearing things, they're seeing things. You're helping them probably more than me. So be thoughtful with your comments. Go ahead, express yourselves, why you do things, why you see things a certain way, and I promise you, there are guys who are looking at what you are saying, and they're acting on it. So this is why I say we're in the same boat. We're all in the same boat together, and we will get through all of this together. So you guys have no idea how important you are. So thank you for that. So with that, I'm going to be heading out. I know I said this about 10 times already, but I'll be heading out. You guys take care of yourself. Take your vitamin C, get your gold, get your silver. Again, what can you say? Just saddle up for what's coming ahead and silver up. I'll see you guys next week. You guys take care.